How do I fix this shit? Oh, hey there. Welcome to Bob's Handyman channel. That's right. You know, the one where Bob shows you how to fix everything in your house, including your painting, your drywall, your cabinet, your plumbing, your air conditioning. Heck, you want a new chicken coop built? Bob's your man. That's right. Well, today we got us a good one. We got this here toilet that's leaking, and Bob's going to show you how to fix it using nothing but duct tape and this here 5 wrench. That's right. So let's get to getting. Just fixing another handyman repair job. I swear it never ends. Hi there, I'm Jeff Mumm. I've been a licensed plumber for over 35 years. 23 years ago, I got my master's license and decided to start my own business. Since then, I have assembled a team of some of the best plumbers in this country, and together we specialize on service and remodel work on homes and offices 1 to 100 years old, sometimes a little older. And for the first time ever, we're going to show you how we do it. So sit back, relax, and welcome to Jeff Mumm Plumbing. In today's video, we're going to talk about kitchen sinks. Obviously, we are in my shop, not in a kitchen, but what I've done is set up this display here so that you can actually get a 360-degree view when we start installing the faucet, the disposal, the sink waste piping. I want you to be able to see everything clear and present. Now, eventually we're going to be in actual job sites where we're hooking up faucets and that, and you'll get to see that as well. But this here is just a great training video. First thing I want to note is I'm pretending like I'm in somebody's house, right? This is their kitchen. This is their countertop, their sink. Right here is the biggest no-no I see handymen do, other plumbers do, professionals, everybody, is set their drinks on somebody's counter, okay? We don't do that, all right? We're professionals. Now, if you're doing this at your own home, put whatever you want on your countertops. Also, when we're working on somebody's countertops, we have, cloth down, drop cloth, something. That way, if we do need to set our tools down, we're not putting it on your Formica, on your granite. Again, something I see a lot of tradesmen do, and it just drives me nuts. As a homeowner, it's your house, do what you want. Anyway, our display here, as you can see, it's made out of wood. We've got a basic stainless steel kitchen sink. What we actually did here was we built a fake wall. This is literally what the wall is behind your kitchen sink in most applications. If you have an island sink, obviously it's different. But most kitchen sinks are on outside walls with a window looking out in the backyard. Again, not everybody has that. So what I wanted to show you is what the drain, the vent, all that actually looks like in the wall behind your sink. This is the drain. Okay, this is eventually what we're going to hook the P-trap and the sink waste piping from your kitchen sink to. In most cases, the drain turns and goes sideways, drains down. This is a vent pipe. You're going to hear us talk about vent pipes all the time. The reason the drain comes in from the side like this in most cases is because this is an outside wall. There's usually a window here. You can't take the vent pipe straight up. We'll get into that more on the job shows when we show you that. But we just kind of wanted to show you a little bit. We actually even put in some fake water pipes to show you underneath the kitchen sink. You know, if you have shut-off valves, this would be the hot side. Has a T that would go to a dishwasher if you have a dishwasher. So we're just kind of trying to show people what it really looks like, to have a kitchen sink. The first thing that we're going to do is we have a kitchen sink that has 4 holes in it, all right? You've already taken out your old faucet, your old disposal, your strainer. You've went in your house, you've stripped everything out, you're putting all brand new in. Sinks come in different varieties, shapes, sizes, different materials. Stainless steel is one of the most common, and there's different grades of stainless steel. Inexpensive ones that cost $30, $40. We've installed $2,000 thick stainless steel sinks before. They come with different holes for different faucets. In this case here, we're working with, what we had before. So we all know that this here is one of the most common kitchen faucets that you've had, right? The old basic single handle or 2 handles with a side sprayer. I'm going to show you today how to install a new one if you want to go back with that. Again, thousands of styles of kitchen faucets. We're going to put in a basic one. First thing you do is you get it out of the box. How do you know which way to install it, right? Look at the handles. In this case here, they got screws on the back of them so that if you need to take the handles off, you don't want those facing forward, right? when you go to turn your faucet on, you would have to turn the handles backwards, right? They don't come forward. So in this case, we know this kitchen faucet gets installed this way. Most kitchen faucets come with some kind of a gasket, a plastic gasket underneath. That's basically going to be a sealant from between the faucet and the sink, all right? First thing you do is make sure that's installed properly. It's hard to tell on the camera here. That's actually kind of beveled on the top. So there's really only one way when you install that. It fits nice and snug up underneath your faucet. Place your faucet in there. Make sure your handle's right for going forward. This particular faucet is very simple to fasten. Comes with these great big nuts here. I'm going to show you underneath the sink how you hook those up. We got these nuts that go up here. They literally just snug up, tighten up. It's very simple. Again, not every faucet is like this, but a good majority of them are. So what you want to do is kind of come back up once you get it snug. You want to make sure it's straight, right? We do everything perfect. Look at the gaps on the sink. There, you want it nice and perfect, all right? Sometimes if you're long-armed like I am, you can actually reach up under here, snug that faucet up, all right? Again, most cases you can't do this. You actually got to be under the sink. You have a light under here so you can see everything. You get up there, you make sure those are nice and snug, nice and tight. All right. If you need to use a pair of channel locks to give them a little snug, you can. I've been doing this a long time. I can tighten those down pretty good with just my bare hands, but it is what it is. All right. Step one, very simple. Tight, you make sure, nice and tight. Now, this particular sink comes with a sprayer adapter. Okay. In our case here, we got the hole for it. Not all these faucets come with a sprayer. If you don't like that side sprayer, in this particular case, this faucet actually comes with this little plug that you can install. Oops, sorry, you need this adapter. This little adapter that comes with it. This adapter is 2 different size holes if you look. Okay, it's only going to fit one way. In the middle of your faucet, that just snaps up there. See how I can't pull that? There's a little button. If I want to take that off, I push that button and it comes right off. That button. All right. So whether I use the sprayer or not, I have to install this part. Again, snaps up there. If I don't want to use a sprayer, this faucet came with this little plug. Okay. It's just going to snap right in the bottom. Boom. Now no water will come out there. Okay. Again, a push button. We are going to have a sprayer, so we won't be using this particular part. You grab my sprayer up here. First thing you want to do is install this. This is for your sink sprayer. Now, let's say you don't have the sprayer. You decided you don't want it. You don't like these side sprayers. Not everybody does. There's a few options you have. Your sink has this big hole in it. A few options you can do. One, they sell all kinds of these little covers, all right? These are actually called a cock hole cover, but I'm sure there's different terms for them. You can take a little bit of putty, a little bit of silicone, push that in there. This washer goes on the bottom. This tightens it down, right? Very simple. This blue here is just a protective film. You can peel that off, and you can see it's chrome. This come in brushed nickel, oil rub bronze, if you want to match your color of your faucet. So that's one option you can do. That way you don't have a big hole in your sink. Another option you can do, if you really want, is put a soap dispenser, right? Everybody likes soap dispensers. These install very simple. Again, it's just a big nut on the bottom. Take that off. There's a gasket on it. This particular one here comes with a rubber gasket on the bottom, right? That literally just sits in there with your gasket on the bottom. tighten this up on the bottom. I'm going to show you actually how to do this because there's a little trick that I found out a lot of homeowners don't realize when dealing with these. So come back down here with me. All right. We're going to reach up here, and you can take that out if you need to. That hose there from the soap dispenser. So again, just take that off there and make this here a little easier. Again, none of this stuff is easy, guys. I'm making this look easier just because I'm wide open. Remember, you're going to be working underneath your kitchen sink. There's cabinet doors in the way. It's tough, right? I understand. So, okay, there you go, right? Now, you take your soap bottle. It literally threads up inside there. Okay? Everybody see that from underneath? Let's go back up top. All right. What a lot of people don't realize is this part comes out. That's your hose goes in there. When you need to refill your soap, I know people that actually climb under there, unscrew that bottle, put soap in it. You don't need to. These here just fit down in there. And when you start pumping, it sucks up soap, right? When you go to refill, you just pull that out, put your soap in there. So anyway, that's another option of what someone can do if you want to, not have a hand sprayer. There's even a third option. You can actually install an air switch for your garbage disposal if you have a garbage disposal. It too is very simple. This here got a button on it, right? That drops down in there. Again, there's just a nut from underneath, tightens it. This has a little gasket, but you can always take some silicone, a little putty underneath there, tighten it up. Your air switch is going to come with this hose and this plug-in. This hose, one end of it, is going to stick up in there. The other end of the hose under your sink is going to come into the bottom into this port here. Then you plug this into the outlet where your disposal was, take your cord from your disposal and plug it in here. Now you have an air switch to turn your disposal off and on. Is there any real purpose to that? No. Looks kind of cool though. Some people like it. Some people don't want to have switches on the back. Again, I'm just kind of showing you some options how to fill the void if you have a faucet, that don't do that. So I'm going to take this soap dispenser back out because we're going to put the hand sprayer in now. All right, back up. Remember, people working on kitchen sinks, up and down, up and down. It's actually a lot harder work than people think underneath sinks and cabinets and whatnot. And again, we're making it look easier than it is because we have this, display set up. But got a picture. This is your cabinets, right? You're climbing in. You got doors opening up. Obviously, clear all your stuff out that is underneath your kitchen sink. But anyway, so we're going to install the sink sprayer. Again, first thing you're going to want to do is install this. Now this comes with the gasket, okay? It's meant to go on top, all right? That gasket there goes on top. You got your big nut underneath. You're gonna reach up under there. You can see my hand. All right, nice and tight. We're going to take our sink sprayer out. It comes like this in the box, pre-packaged. You want to stick this hose down in there first, right? That hose down in there, set it. All right, we got our end of our hose. Just got this fitting. Remember our adapter we installed earlier. This will literally just push up in there. Do you hear that snap? That's all there is to the sink sprayer. If I want to take that out, remember that little push button that's on there. To pull it out, okay? Just snaps up in there. Again, this is a Moen faucet. This is their design, but a lot of faucets have a very similar deal nowadays. You may have an old faucet that this actually had a a male fitting on it, and it's screwed up in there. You had to have a little wrench to tighten that. Those were the old style faucets. Nowadays, we all use this this clicker adapter. So pretty simple to do. Okay, so now we've got our kitchen faucet installed. Honestly, that was the easy part. If you notice, I didn't use one single tool to do that. Of course, getting the old faucet off and all that, you needed tools. We'll go over that. A couple different things we can do here. I can put the sink strainers in next, or I can hook the water lines up to the faucet. I'm not going to put the disposal and all the sink waste piping on yet, because at some point I want to get down there to my water lines. I still got to connect from the faucet to the shutoff valves. But while I'm up here, I'm going to go ahead and put my sink strainer in. In this case, we got a garbage disposal, so I'm going to show you how to put that strainer in. We'll start first with the sink strainers. These come in a variety of different sizes, not sizes, they're all 3.5 inch for kitchen sinks, but they come in different styles. These are the types we like to use, basically 2 different ones. There's this one here, big nut on the bottom of it, installs, it's got a gasket. Here, if you notice how thick that gasket is, okay? That's one style there. The other style, very similar, right? Has a big nut on the bottom. You unscrew it. Doesn't have near as thick of a gasket, okay? Honestly, on this case, I could use either sink strainer, but some sinks are made of different materials. They're thicker than other sinks. In that case, you want to use this thinner one so that when you stick this down in there and tighten it up, you got enough room. The sink thicknesses on a Corian sink or a solid surface sink can be real thick. Stainless steel is very thin. So we like to use, in our case, the thicker gasket, okay? Again, everybody's preference, both would work. That's just how we like to do it. So let me put this strainer aside. Let me show you then how we put this in. All right. In our case here, the way we plumb this and design this is we're going to put our garbage disposal on the right side of the sink. I know this sounds crazy. 80% of the world population is right-handed. So most people want the garbage disposal switch on the right-hand side. Doesn't have to be that way. We're very anal, very picky, so that's how we do it. Some sinks actually have smaller bowls on one side or the other, and that's where the garbage disposal is designed to go. Some sinks have one bowl, and the garbage disposal obviously has to go where it has to go, regardless. In our case here, for our purposes, we're going to put the garbage disposal on the right and our sink strainer on the left. We actually plumbed our drain in to do this, and I'll show you that why in a minute. So to put a sink strainer in, come back here, we get our plumber's putty. Now, there's different ways we do this. We use plumber's putty on a lot of stainless steel sinks, but if we had a solid surface sink, I have plumbers that will actually use a pure silicone instead of the putty on there because they don't want the putty oil to bleed into the sink. They actually do make this putty that doesn't have oil in it, but again, I could actually use either a pure silicone, 100% silicone, or I can use putty. Putty is kind of the old school way of doing it. All you do is take that, roll it out, make yourself kind of a big worm looking thing. Take your strainer, wrap this around, and kind of just take it and mash it down, all right? You seeing that? Just kind of take it and mash it down. Get it nice and flat in there. You can put a little more than you need. Trust me, it'll all come out. Take that, you're going to stick it down in, push it down in, kind of nice and tight. All right, while we're still up here, let's do our disposal before we climb under the sink. So we open up our garbage disposal. Here's where we want our first tool, okay? So this here is a basic strainer assembly that comes with almost every garbage disposal manufacturer made. There are a few differences, so don't be alarmed. First thing you do when you get it, it's all one piece, all right? Nothing's coming apart. There's a snap ring here that is holding everything together. First thing you want to do is back these 3 screws all the way out. This here's where it gets a little bit tricky, but you can manage it. Take a flat screwdriver. This metal ring that's going around there, I don't know if you can see that metal ring right there. I need to get that off. Basically, I just take my screwdriver, oop, and pop that off. All right. Do it. And it shoots all over. All right, so there's our ring, right? That ring is what basically holds this whole assembly together. Now, everything comes apart. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, now we're down with nothing but a strainer. Okay, again, we're going to take our plumber's putty. We're going to wrap this up nice. One solid. We want one solid rope, worm, whatever you want to call it on your putty, all right? Again, all right, we got our rag down. I'm not doing it on your brand new countertop or even your old countertop. All right, I take that, I put it on. Kind of flatten it down. Difference is on most of these strainers for garbage disposal, you'll see they have words on them. Not that this is necessary, but sign of a good tradesman is when they put that in there, they'll have those words nice and straight. If you have OCD like I do and a lot of people do, you want that straight. All right, we've got our both strainers in. Now we go underneath and I'll show you how we hook these up. All right. So on our regular side of our sink strainer, we have three parts, okay? The nut that's going to tighten everything, the gasket, and this piece of cardboard, okay? Basically, your gasket goes up here first. Now, sometimes see how I got a little bit of putty oozing through? I like to actually kind of scrape that off, all right? Get that nice and flat so it's not oozing. My gasket, that is what is sealing the bottom of the sink, all right? So it don't leak, that gasket. Then we got this piece of cardboard, okay? That's going to go on next. The reason for the piece of cardboard is when I put this nut on here and tighten this up, sometimes you got to back it out. Don't cross thread it. You'll know when you got it. There, boom. Tighten that up there. Okay, that piece of cardboard, when I get this nut up here and tighten, what it does is it kind of acts as a slip resistant. So when I'm tightening this up, it doesn't squish this gasket out. So that piece of cardboard is pretty important. If you lose it, I've actually taken cardboard boxes and cut and made my own gasket in a case. Now, my plumbing trucks, we have spares of everything. So, you know, we don't lose stuff. All right, so this nut here, now you want to get this pretty tight. So I'm going to grab a couple of wrenches here and show you things. All right, two different types of wrenches here. I got these channel locks, and I got what's called a strainer wrench. They sell these at all the hardware stores. Us plumbers have these tools. If you're a homeowner, you don't. You got a pair of pliers laying around, you can make these work too. This wrench is actually designed to tighten the strainer down. So let me come down here and I'll show you. This nut here has these notches on it, these little tabs, all right? The strainer wrench actually kind of locks on and tightens. If you can see that or not. It's actually designed to catch on there, okay, and tighten that down. Now, if you don't have that, a pair of channel locks will work too, okay? You can grab a couple of those tabs. A lot of times I take this nut off so you can get a grab. Tighten that down, all right? Now you want that pretty good and snug, all right? You want that nice and tight, okay? For our display here, I'm leaving it right there. We're not gonna run water through this and test it, but that sill, that gasket is what's sealing water from leaking into your cabinet. So you'll want that nut pretty tight. Doesn't mean take a great big pipe wrench like our handyman Bob will do, but snug that up pretty tight, all right? Now over here, our garbage disposal, same thing. Take some of that excess putty that smashed down there off. Let me grab our parts for the garbage disposal here. All right. Now this part here, honestly, to me, on hooking up a kitchen sink, is probably the most difficult part for a homeowner, even us plumbers, but once you've installed a few thousand of them, it obviously gets easier. So, all right. In this case here, we got our gasket. Now in this case here, that cardboard gasket's actually going up there separate. You don't have a rubber gasket, okay, on a garbage disposal. Piece of cardboard is going to go up there. And this metal part here, you can see it's flat on one side and dented on the other. The flat side's going to go up, okay? Remember this part here that we took apart? The That's a Phillips or a regular screwdriver, okay? The other side doesn't have that. The Phillips screw side slot is going to go down. See how that's a triangle and this is a triangle? You want to line those up, right? Right, now here's where you want to have these nuts out about as far as you can. Don't take them all the way out. About as far as you can. All right, here's where it gets a little tricky. Remember our snap ring, right? That's what holds everything together. The snap ring actually, right, it's not solid. Kind of overlaps each other because there's a little tension. Secret on this is take the part that's split apart, kind of use it to hold on to, okay? Now this is a lot easier. I'm actually going to flip around on my back and do this because it's a lot easier. I'm going to take my screwdriver and grab the end of this. Now I'm using my thumb and I'm holding this split ring. And I just snap that up there. Okay, I know that was hard to see. You kind of have to hold the ring. I got my fingers up in there and I snap that up in there. Okay, so now that ring is snapped up. There's actually a groove up there. Nothing will fall down, right? So now the thing is, I got to take these screws and tighten them up. You want to tighten those evenly, all right? It's kind of like you're tightening the lug nuts on your tire. You kind of go evenly. Same thing. You want them all to come in evenly. Start with your fingers, make it easy. Take your screwdriver. This can be a Phillips or a regular. Tighten these up. Go here. Go to this one. Go to this one. Okay, now I'm not getting those fully snug yet because I want to go up top and make sure that I've got the words lined up that we talked about, and I'll show you something else. So let's go back up to the top. All right. So now if you look down into the sink, you'll see as I kind of got these nuts tightened, see how the putty is oozed out? What you want. Take your finger, get rid of that excess putty, right? Save that. There's nothing wrong with that putty. Put it back in there. Come to your disposal side here. Okay, now I don't tighten everything, so I can still kind of adjust this strainer. I can still slide it a little bit to make sure it's centered in the hole. My words are straight. This is straight. Take your flat screwdriver. Be careful. I see a lot of guys do this and scratch sinks up. Nice and easy. Go around, nice and easy. Don't be in a hurry. And just get that excess putty out of there, right? Take that with your finger. Get rid of it. Okay, and I'm going to show you something here because this is a display sink and it doesn't matter. I've actually put in $2,000 stainless steel sinks, all right? People spend a lot of money on them. I've seen guys do it. I've done it myself. If you're in here in a hurry, oops, I just scratched your brand new sink. I know it don't seem like a big deal. I don't care if it's a $30 sink. That's somebody's hard-earned money that they just spent on. I don't want to scratch it, okay? Take your time. Nice and easy. Get that putty out of there. The thing is when you get all done with this sink, there'll be a little bit more of that putty that actually oozes out of there as you tighten stuff down. But again, nice and easy. Take your screwdriver. Get that excess putty out of there, right? And you'll come back later and even get a little more putty out. But anyway, our words are straight, everything's straight. We got stuff snugged up there. We come back down below. Now I'm going to finish tightening everything up, okay? I know this isn't turning. So I'm going to just get these here again. Nice and even. Boom, here. Go to this guy. Nice and even. All right. And again, you want these pretty tight, okay? Don't be afraid to put a little bit of pressure. Now, again, don't put everything you have into it. If you did the putty right and got everything square, you'll have a good joint up there. Look at that. Nice and tight, right? Now, I pulled some of that putty out, right? Look at that. Look at my finger, so I can still now tighten it. The putty kind of oozes out, and it'll actually unloosen your strainer a little bit. So we're going to go back with our strainer. Hold this bottom. I'm going to give that a few more turns. Again, strainer wrenches. You could probably buy this wrench for, I don't know, 10 bucks at Home Depot or Lowe's. All right, nice and tight. All right, this nut here I had there, I'm gonna put that back on for now just so I don't lose it. Okay, so we're ready for our disposal. We're ready for our strainer. Now picture I'm underneath this sink, right? Where you're looking at me, that's the back of a cabinet. You can't see me if this is a normal kitchen sink. I still got to hook the water lines up from my faucet to here. There's no need to put this garbage disposal on this piping in right now, because now I got to work around that stuff, okay? So I'm now going to hook up my water lines to my faucet. Some guys will do that first before they put these strainers on. I just wanted to show you while I was standing up how to put the strainers on. All right, so I got these flexible water supply lines, all right? These are what we use. Flexible, these are braided, lead-free, okay? Everything's got to be lead-free now. They got LF on them. These are braided. These are 30-inch ones. They come in all different lengths, 12-inch, 20-inch, 30-inch. I think you can even get 48-inch. They're pretty universal, okay? One side, if you notice, that's a 5/8 nut. The other side is a 3/8 nut. You can't mess them up. I can't put the 5/8, the smaller one, on my faucet, right? So, because this is a demonstration, I'm not going to do it. We actually use a pipe dope, and we will actually pipe dope these threads up on the faucet. Some guys don't do that. Absolutely fine. I've owned a plumbing business 23 years. I have guys out doing this every day. We do thousands of these a year. Knock on wood. We rarely have a leak using pipe dope. So we just stick with what works, okay? If you choose not to do that, great. I'd like to hear some of the comments about that to see how you guys do it. So anyway, I pipe dope that up. I get up under here. I tighten that on there, right? That nut tightens on there pretty good. I'm going to take my other one. I'm going to tighten it up there too, right? Now, if you notice, our shutoff valves that we have installed here, all right? Again, this is for display. Okay, not everybody has shutoff valves. Not everybody uses copper. Some of you people use a different material. Where we're at, we use copper piping for most of our plumbing. This is my hot, this is my cold. Up top, my hot's on the left, my cold's on the right. That's pretty universal, okay? In our jurisdiction, that's actually code. That way you don't actually scald people. Everybody knows hot water's on your left, cold's on the right. In this case here, it's simple. Again, I would take some pipe dope, put on that valve, tighten this on there, okay? Now, when you go to tighten this, I'm going to show you. You tighten this down, this will want to start twisting. You can actually take a little pair, small pair of channel locks, not much, you don't need much. Just barely hold on. Don't squeeze it, just nice and easy, and tighten that down, okay? You want that good and snug. Again, you're not using a big wrench. Don't put everything you have into it. You don't want to twist your water pipes and break some, but you want to snug that down pretty good. Now, let's say you don't have 30-inch supply lines, and even if you do, they're not long enough. Your shutoff valve is a ways away. Actually make these extensions that you can buy, okay? This extension, again, I would put some pipe dope around here, not Teflon tape, just pipe dope. And I would screw it into the end of that nut there. See how that's meant for a wrench on it? You can tighten that up. Now I just made my supply line even longer, okay? I didn't need that for here. I'm just kind of showing you. They do make these extensions that if you have to have. Back in the old days, we actually made these out of copper. We had to solder little nose cones on. We made all these copper. When I first started plumbing, they didn't even have flex lines. Some faucets will actually come with their own water line hanging off the faucet. You can't take it off. It's part of the faucet. Delta does that with a lot of theirs. Sometimes those aren't long enough. You have to use an extension on there. All right, so anyway, for our purposes, we've got everything tight, right? If we really wanted to right now, we could turn our water on as long as our faucet is off and kind of test these fittings, okay? I'm not going to do that. We don't actually have water here, but anyway, you could, if you really wanted to right now, do that. So, all right. Now we've got everything done as far as the water lines go. We've got our strainers in. Now we're going to install the disposal and the rest of the sink waste piping and show you how that's done. All right, let's start with the disposal first. And grab you some of our parts that we're going to need. I'm going to grab you a saw on here. And for now, that should be all we need. All right, so we'll go back down under the sink. Let me show you how we do this. All right, the garbage disposal. Part here, a little tricky, right? These things have got a little bit of weight to them. I don't know what that weighs, probably 5-6 pounds, okay? Again, I'm making this look easy because I'm under a sink, but picture there's a cabinet here. Sometimes you gotta lay on your back. This here ring is on your disposal, right? It's got these little tabs on here. Basically, what I'm doing is putting this up here. Those little tabs kind of line up on this strainer, and that tightens, okay? I'm tightening that on there. Now, it's going to get to a point where you can't push it anymore. Well, I've seen guys do, especially a lot of handyman, they don't realize they need to actually lock that into place. I'm going to show you from the back side here if I can. What you need to do is take your pliers. So I'm tightening this up. You can actually put that there, and boom, that just secured that flange. You gotta remember, when this thing turns on, it's vibrating. So that actually locks that into place. Look at this. You can still spin that disposal around, okay? But that's all locked into place. That will take you a few times. I made it look really easy. I've done thousands of these. It'll take you a few minutes to do it. There's 100 videos out there. We'll have more in-depth videos later on about how to install garbage disposals. We'll show that even a little clearer. So, all right, my disposal's in. Something else I didn't show you is, in our case today, we don't have a dishwasher, okay? We're not gonna be hooking up a dishwasher. A lot of people don't have them. If you did, in most cases, the drain hose from your dishwasher will come into your sink, and it'll actually tie in to this nub right here. Now this nub, this is a brand new disposal, right? If water drained into your garbage disposal into here, bam, it wouldn't go anywhere. So if I had a dishwasher, before I installed this disposal, I would have laid it down on the floor, on the counter, taken a screwdriver and a hammer, boom, 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 and knocked that plug out. The reason we do it before we install it is because that little plastic tab in there will fall on your disposal. You want to be able to take your disposal and tip it over to get that out of there so it don't get ground up in the blades. It's just a little knockout. That's all it is. In our case, we're not having a dishwasher, so we leave that part in there. All right. This little green bag comes with it, okay? It's got parts in there. This gasket, you see me just take it off here. It was actually in here. I took it, taken it off there earlier. It's got this metal bracket. It's got this little device. You've all seen that in your house. Probably half of you don't know what that's for. And then it comes with two screws, all right? We have here what's called a disposal kit. Okay, this is made by Dearborn Brass, plastic, PVC, which is what we use in our jurisdiction. Some people across the country may have chrome 17 gauge, 20 gauge they use under their sinks. Where we're from, in our residential homes, we can use plastic. If I was in an office building installing this, where I'm from, I would have to do this in 17 gauge chrome. But in residential areas, we can use this. Curious also how the rest of you around the country, do you have to use chrome, plastic, residential, commercial, you know, whichever. So anyway, I'm gonna open up this bag here, start taking parts out. Okay, I got this long piece here. We'll set that aside. I got this T. I got this part here, all right? And I got a couple of other nuts and gaskets, all right? First thing I'm gonna do is, this came with the disposal. It's just a flat, thick rubber piece. It's gonna actually sit inside this little groove right there, all right? I'm gonna take the part from my disposal kit. It's got this flange piece on the end of it. If you see that, it's long. There's also a shorter one, all right? Take the long one, the bracket that came with the disposal. It's going to slide over. Doesn't matter which way, okay? It's going to slide over, and it's going to go up. That flat flange piece is going to seal against this gasket. Now, disposal kits will also come with this rubber gasket. I don't know if you can tell that. It's kind of different, a little narrower on this side than it is here, and it's actually got a slit in it. You can actually take that over your flange tail piece and that slit that was inside this gasket went over that flange piece. You can actually also use that. And then when you put this up there, it tightens down. It doesn't matter. Either one works. We've done it both ways thousands of times. Honestly, I like just the plain flat gasket, but I'm sure other guys will say, no, you got to use the other part. Trust me when I tell you, we've done thousands of garbage disposals, me and my guys and most licensed plumbers across the country. That flat gasket works. All right, those two little screws came with it. On this disposal here, it's hard to kind of tell, but there's actually two little screws, holes there. This here is going to go flat up against your gasket. These screws are going to go in and tighten down. I'm kind of doing this blind here, so I got to find where that goes in. All right, once it gets started, just get it in a little ways, then come put the other side in. All right, just get them started. Again, it's a regular screwdriver. That's all you need. Okay, you kind of tighten those up. Again, like everything almost in the world, do a little bit. One side, come back, get the other side a little bit. Tighten them evenly, everything evenly. You'll want to get those pretty snug. All right, you'll get to a point where it'll almost just stop, but you want that pretty snug. All right, there you go. All right, now we're pointing that right to the other side. I'll also go over something with you when you're all said and done. I've seen on other videos that a lot of guys do this different. This part comes with your garbage disposal, almost every disposal. I've seen guys actually do their sink waste piping different than how we do. And honestly, I thought it was pretty cool. I think there's two ways to do it. We've always done it this way, but I'm not against doing it the other way too. All right, this nut, remember, came with this strainer, all right? It was part of it. When you take it off, there's this plastic gasket. We call that a top hat washer. Looks like a top hat when it's upside down, all right? Remember this other piece came with our disposal kit? It was shorter. It's the exact same as this one. It's just shorter, okay? This top hat fits down inside that. I don't know if you can see that. Fits down inside there. Your brass nut that came with these strainers goes up here. Okay, I gotta move this out of the way, and that there tightens up. Now, when I'm doing a normal kitchen sink, I will Teflon tape these threads and pipe dope them. I know I see a lot of guys don't do either, some do one. Trust me when I tell you, Teflon tape, pipe dope, we don't want leaks. When we come to your house, you're hiring a professional, we don't want leaks. That's how we do it. All right, so now we're getting close, right? We've got our piece coming down from this strainer. We got our disposal in. All right, plumbers have these hand saws that we use. You don't have to have this. They make tools that cut this tubing. You can have a hacksaw, a sawzall. I've seen guys do that a lot of different ways. All right, this T-piece came with my disposal kit. Basically, what it's going to do now is connect this pipe and this pipe, right? But you can see when I put that in, it's too long, okay? I need to cut this piece down. So what I can do is just kind of eyeball this, all right? I've done enough of these to know that this piece of pipe pretty much needs to go flush with the edge of this piece of pipe. So I just kind of take my saw, cut it, and give it a little bit. Nice and easy. Try to get as straight a cut as you can. Don't get in a hurry and break this piece off, all right? Cut all the way through it. All right, nice and easy, nice and easy. Perfect, nice and easy. Take your finger and wipe these burrs off. You want that nice and flat. All right, now I got that piece right. But look, I'll show you from the back side, right? I'm too long, right? If I push this up there, I'm too long. So now I need to cut this piece. Okay, this piece of pipe here is going to go into right there. So now all I need to do is take that. Remember now, I want this piece of pipe to slope down, okay? So I know because I've done this enough, I can just kind of push that down, or you can put a level on this, but you want the water from here coming down your disposal, slope down here because it's going to eventually go out. You don't want this aiming up. Otherwise, you get food and stuff lodged in there. And this is where I see a lot of plumbers do this a different way. And we'll go over that in a different video. But for now, I'm telling you, this is a very simple, easy way to do it. So I need to push that down. I need to kind of line this up on here where I want that. I'm going to use my finger. Now I'm going to cut this piece of pipe here. You'd rather cut it a little long than short, okay? Now as plumbers, we have all kinds of these spare parts on our truck. So if we cut something wrong, not the end of the world. We have more to do it, okay? All right. Remember I said now that our disposer kit came with some spare nuts and gaskets, all right? So right now I'm going to take my nut and slide it on there. Came with these gaskets. If you notice, these are beveled, right? Beveled this way, all right? That beveled end goes towards where you're tightening that. Okay, so you push that on there, just slide it back. Now I need to do that up here on top. So I push my nut up. Okay, the beveled end's going on the bottom. These are actually rubber gaskets. Sometimes these will be plastic. They'll all work. All right, now I got my T-fitting. These T-fittings have a baffle in them. So that way when water is coming down here, if any little food particles get in here, they're directed down, okay? It's got a baffle on the inside of it. It's actually code where we're from that those have to be in there. I don't know if you can see that any better in there. All right, so now I'm going to take my pipe. Remember, you got a little play on this stuff, right? I can move this a little bit. I'm not forcing it, but I got a little play, right? Take that pipe there, boom, tighten there. I push this bevel forward. See how that sits in there, nice and easy. You don't need pipe dope. You don't need Teflon tape. You don't need anything. If you want to put a little Teflon tape on there, great. You're not going to hurt anything, but really, you don't need it. And believe me, I'm all about Teflon tape and pipe dope. All right, I take this gasket, I push it down, all right? See how that sits in there? That rubber bevel went down inside there. Now I'm going to tighten this down. Nice and good, all right? You want that pretty snug, all right? I'm going to do it with just my hands, but if you wanted to take now your pair of pliers, you know, give this a little extra snug, you can. Okay, nothing wrong with that. See how these got these tabs on the end of them? Those are meant to get your hands on and a pair of pliers to tighten. I've had times where I've actually had to take a saw and cut these tabs off because they hit each other. All right, take a look at it. Garbage disposal coming over, draining down. So now the final part of all this is now we have to get from here to our drain. All right. When a new plumber or a plumber installs your plumbing brand new, all right, we came in, we put this drain in the wall for our kitchen sink. I see a lot of handymen do this. What I'm going to say is the wrong way. It can be corrected, but they'll actually take their drain and they aim for the center of the sink. There's no need to do that because now you need to offset that drain to get. I knew that I wanted my garbage disposal on the right, my strainer on the left. So when I put this sink in, this drain in, I measured the center of this sink and I went 8 inches over. The reason for that is, and let me show you back up top here. Roughly from the center of my sink here to here is 8 inches, give or take a little bit, and every sink's a little different. Now, if you have a single sink, you can offset it. You don't have to shoot for the middle, okay? But on a 2-well sink that's of a standard 33-inch size, most cases, that's an 8-inch, and we'll call it 7.5 to 8.5 inches offset, all right? So I knew my disposal was going on this side, my strainer was on this side. So I come back down here. Now, because I'm doing this all new, I have to put everything together. In your case, it may not be this simple. Your drain may be over here. It may be coming out the side of your cabinet. You'll have to figure out how to adapt. We'll show you in some later videos how to do that. So now I bought this P-trap kit, right? PVC 1.5 inches. This is all 1.5 inches diameter. My sink drain's 1.5 inches. This here is all just 1.5 inches. You can buy all this stuff at Home Depot and Lowe's. I don't know if you can get this brand, but they all carry it. So I take it apart. It's basically 2 components, right? But I got these adapters that come on there. Man, what the heck are all those for? It's pretty simple. It's going to come with what's called a trap adapter. This is my P-trap. This is the adapter. In this case here, because I'm doing this brand new, I got to glue this part onto there with just some PVC glue, okay? I would glue that on there. Put that on, let it dry for a few minutes while I'm doing this. Honestly, I probably would have done that first if this was a real installation, and because I want that to have time to glue. I would have almost glued that on as soon as I got here. All right. Basically, now I'm left with two components, right? This is going to hook on like that. Never on the top part. This bottom here, it's hard to see, is actually beveled. See how that's beveled? That is designed to go in there, okay? Just like we did up top, this is going to come with our nuts. Now here, I don't need a gasket because this is already beveled like my gaskets are. It's part of the trap. So I need to put a nut on. Now this one, I'm putting on this way, okay? Now, to hook to my trap adapter, I got to put a nut on this way, my gasket beveled, right? Going towards where I'm tightening at. So I'm going to put it on. All right. I'm going to take that for now and I'm going to stick it in there. I'm just going to kind of lightly snug that up. All right. Now we're down to one piece, right? It's simple. Beveled, beveled. That tightens in together. There you go. Everything's all said and done. Uh-oh. We have a problem, right? My sink drain was roughed in a little bit lower. I actually do that on purpose. The reason for that is if you rough your sink drain in, when I say rough it in, I mean when I install that. If I put that up too high, I can actually screw myself when I go to tighten everything up. Or let's say down the road, somebody changes this sink out and they want to put a big deep sink in. I'm allowing room for extensions. It's always better when you're plumbing to think of the future. Put extensions in. If you look down here on my water pipe even, when we rough our water pipe in, we actually make our copper pipe long, okay? We don't want everything tight. First of all, this is underneath your kitchen sink. Nobody cares what it looks like. Think about the future. Think about someday somebody's going to need to replace these shutoff valves. Well, now they can come in here and cut this copper and put a new shutoff valve on very easy. Maybe on the cold side, somebody bought a reverse osmosis system. Maybe they want an ice maker, an Insta-Hot. They need to add a shutoff. They can actually cut this copper and solder a T in. If I had this shutoff valve all the way down here, it's a major pain in the butt. It's going to cost you extra. You're going to have to hire. I actually made this easy. Same with my drain. I kept this low because I like the idea of options. It's easy to put an extension in here. When I talk about extensions, right? They sell these at Home Depot, Lowe's. My plumbers carry probably 10 of these on their truck. This is meant to extend. If you look, right, I got to fill this gap somehow. See how that's indented? This piece of pipe is actually designed to fit all the way up in there, all right? So now I come over, I make sure now that this pipe is sloping backwards, right? I want water draining down this pipe, down here, down, down. Everything on plumbing has to have a slope or a fall to it, right? So I'm going to make sure I got some slope. I'm eyeballing this, but if you need to take a level and do it all, I'm eyeballing it up. I know that on my P-trap, it has the same as here. This piece of pipe is going to go all the way into there. Okay, so I make sure that has a good fall on it. I got that up. I'm using my thumb to kind of mark. I pull that back down. I just need to cut. Oh, I kind of messed up there by letting my fingers, so I'm going to double check. I'd rather do it twice than cut wrong, okay? Thing is, if I do cut wrong, I got 10 more of these. You don't. So, measure twice, cut once. All right, so I got fall. All right. Once you get started, you can take your thumb back off, right? Again, nice and easy. If you have a good sharp saw, it'll cut right through this plastic, all right? Again, they make tools. You can actually use a cable cutter. I've seen old timers use kite string to cut through plastic. Now, we don't have to do that, but nice and easy, right? Cut it, take your finger, burr all that off. Now, in my case here, all right, Still got to put a nut up here with a gasket. All right. Now, if I just put this in, I still need a nut here, right? So these here came with their own nuts and gaskets, all right? So I got my gaskets. It came with the gaskets. Again, they're all beveled, right? That's the thing is you got to it's like putting a puzzle together. You just got to remember to put your nuts and gaskets on first before you start assembling stuff. All right. Now I'm going to push this up all the way. I'm going to snug this up. Everything's just kind of snug right now. Okay. Now you're like, oh, Jeff, how do I do this? Remember, I can take this apart. I can pull this up. Now, I have some adjustment on this piece here going in and out. It can slide in. I can go all the way in if I need to. I can pull it out. You may not have that much room, so you can actually cut this piece of pipe down too. In our case, everything's fitting perfect because we did it. All right. Boom. Now, like I said, when I did the 8 inches off center part, I could have had my drain come out the middle, but odds are it wouldn't have lined up. Now I would have had to offset stuff. So here, when we do that 8 inches off center, we pull back. My beveled, I don't need a gasket here, right? Because it's beveled. See how that fits in there? All right, so now I come down. I got that all lined up. Again, you don't need Teflon tape. You don't need pipe dope. You don't need any of that. If you choose to put some on, great. I don't recommend pipe dope. There's actually pipe dope that'll eat away at plastic. But they also nowadays make all kinds of pipe dope. I see some plumbers put it on, great. If you do, cool. If you don't, honestly, we never do one here. All right, so now I come back here. Man, I snug everything up. I tighten all these down, double check. Take your pliers if you want. Give stuff here a nice double check. You know, not too much. These are plastic fittings. All right, look at that. Double everything. You look back now, we got our kitchen sink. Basically, everything's done. It's time to test. Let's go back up and let me show you here one more thing. Talking about the putty. If you look back down at our sink, look at that putty because we snugged everything back up, remember? Come back up. Take your screwdriver again, nice and slow. Don't get in a hurry. Nice and slow. You don't want to scratch somebody's sink. Remember, just because it's not $1,000 sink, if you're working on somebody's house, it's their sink, man. It might be everything they have. It, you know, treat it as if it's $1,000 sink. All right, there you go. Nice and easy. And you may have to come back an hour later and kind of get the rest of this putty out. At the end of the day, all right. There's your sink, you got your faucet, you got your sprayer. Make sure when you pull this hose out, it's not caught on anything. The next thing I would do here, I'm done with all the plumbing, I'm done with everything, I would test out. Okay, and the way I like to test sinks out is I will turn the water on, cold and hot, all right? I will start running water down both wells. I'm not stopping them up just yet. I just want basic water going down. I'll pull my sprayer out. I'll make sure that this fitting is snugged up. I'll run it a little bit on both sides. All right. I get back down underneath my sink. I'm checking for leaks. I want to know now if I have a leak. All right. If you hired me as your plumber, I want to find a leak if I'm going to have one. If you did this project on your own, you want to know if you have a leak. All right. Thoroughly check every fitting. There are 25 to 30 different fittings you just installed or I just installed for you that all have the potential to leak. Now is the time to find out. In fact, I tell customers, don't even put stuff back underneath your sink for a day or two. Go back tonight, go back tomorrow, check under your sink again. Sometimes it takes a while for a little drip to appear. Sometimes it just means fitting needs to be snugged up just a little bit. But if you have all your stuff back under your sink like I do, you'll never know. So don't be in a rush to put stuff back under. Check it thoroughly. All right, so you've done that. So far, everything looks good. We're halfway there. Take your stoppers, right? Came with your disposal, came with your sink strainer. Now we're going to plug our sinks up. We're going to fill both of these wells up with water. When they get full, we're going to release them, all right? We're going to let that water go down. I'm still got the faucet running. I'm going to look underneath the sink again. I'm going to grab everything just to make sure every fitting, nothing's leaking and dripping. You know, again, you want to know if you have a leak. All right, so you've got through everything. No leaks at all. Pat yourself on the back. You did a great job. Give your plumber a hug. He did a great job too. So anyway, just kidding. But we're not done quite just yet. We've tested everything, all good, no leaks for now. Next thing we need to do, just to really make this a waterproof area, this is a new sink I installed for you. We don't install silicone under the sink. Some guys do, more power to them. It just makes it harder in the end to get those off. We take a latex caulk. This isn't a pure silicone. We use clear in most cases. It's going to come out white, but it will dry clear. We'll take this all the way around your sink, all right? Take your finger then. You'll see this stuff cleans up nice. It's not sticky. It's not gooey. It'll fill in nice. Take a sponge or a wet rag, wipe it down, put some more around it, all the way around the back if you can. It's going to be tough. Remember, you got a window and a ledge here, but do your best to get this here. Clean it up, wipe it down. You're not done yet. Heck, take a little bit of this clear silicone and go around your faucet, all right? This has a gasket under it, but who cares? Why not just put a little bit of silicone? Heck, I'll even put some around here. Remember, it's going to dry clear. You're not going to see it, but it's just one more barrier to keep water from, getting in and ruining your cabinets underneath. So, all right, there you have it. You just installed your first kitchen sink, your disposal, your sink waste piping. You're all done. All right, that's all I got for you today. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And for you plumbers out there, please feel free to comment. I'd love to see how you guys do stuff across the country. For the rest of our viewers, please let me know if there's anything specifically you would like to see from us. We're going to show you all kinds of plumbing repairs, installations, remodels. We will actually be on the job showing you how to install sinks and faucets and all that stuff too. So I can't wait to hear from you. In the meantime, thank you for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.